Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
Garrett Price.
How's it going?
And we are snowed in out here in Ohio. There's so much powder on the ground. I'm thinking about changing my name to Tony Montana. Like, this is unbelievable out there.
It just keeps coming down, man. It's ridiculous.
Just keeps coming like a porn star. What's going on out there? This is ridiculous. Like, it just won't stop. I want to go like snowboarding. I can't even do that. Like, the kids have been out of school. I don't know how they're going to go to school tomorrow. It's still snowing like lightly, but hey, here we are. I don't mind being still snowed in, like, personally.
No, I don't. I'm good with it also. Yeah, at this point.
So yeah, watching some.
Just get me to spring however I can. If I got to sleep the whole rest of the way like a hibernating bear, that's fine with me.
I was telling my wife, I was like, dude, February is next week. I was like, and that's fantastic because, you know, even though it's a month that lags because it's so cold and brutal. That means March is only 4 weeks away, and baseball starts in March, and spring starts in March. And you know, you get a couple of those days like here and there, like, ooh, it's spring's here, and then it's like cold for another 2 to 3 weeks, and you're like,
right. Then you get a random snowstorm.
Yeah, like the seasons have got pushed back since I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, I feel like 40 years ago, like March was spring, and I feel like. I don't know when it happened, but like maybe 15 or so years ago or 20 years ago, like I felt like the seasons all got pushed back to like 1 month. It doesn't snow till like Christmas time here.
Yeah. September's still summer.
Yeah. It's May showers, not April showers. Like it's it's wild on those Ohio streets, but you know, so be it. It's a great state. Favorite state. It's my favorite state, Ohio, by the way.
And we get trashed on so much nationally. Like, you know,
I don't get it. It's everybody knows somebody from Cleveland or Ohio area. They're all the dopest people around,
right? Look, there's other states. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but like, how many states, like, especially we're talking Midwest, that we get trashed on, like, don't have like as many professional sports teams as we have, Hall of Fames that we have, like all the kind of like, what do you guys do?
Got it all the Hall of Fames. All the sports franchises. We got Cedar Point. We have a major lake, so we have beachfront property.
Right.
We have
the Ohio River.
Oh yeah, we got rivers galore. We got tons of national parks. There's something to do. We got, you know, a lot of times
tons of parks. I don't know. Do we have a national park in Ohio?
Oh, sorry, no national parks. No national parks. I don't know, dude. Once I'm in a bunch of trees, national, local, it's all a park to me. Like, what am I doing here? I can't see nothing but trees.
I want to say Cuyahoga's is a national park.
I will look.
Or maybe it's just considered a state park. I don't know. I have a game, a board game called Parks, and it goes through like all of like the biggest parks in like the country, and like the Cuyahoga Park is like one of them, and it shows like the train track and stuff. And
oh wow, we got train tracks here. Wow. Yes. Out railroad, bitches.
Cuyahoga Valley National Park. I guess we do.
Yeah,
man, Rich was right.
National Park.
Rich was right.
Great restaurants, award-winning orchestras. Doesn't get much hip to that. We got tons of music, amphitheaters, and places.
The Ohio State University.
The Ohio State, even though Dave Matthews announced his tour this morning, he's not playing Ohio and a lot of other states too, which is really disappointing. But besides that, yeah, life is good. You got a little snow, but I snowboard, so I don't mind the snow. It's also a great excuse not to go anywhere. You're like, dude, the weather's bad. I can't go anywhere. And I always say, like, you know, when you live somewhere too, like I always described it as, you know, when we were at Ohio State, Matt, you know, one of my best friends, one of my really good friends to this day, he went to Ohio State from LA. Like, he just wanted to go somewhere that had a really good football school. Never been to Ohio, never seen snow or anything, and just went to Ohio State. And I remember one time he told me, this is so long ago, he's like, man, you know what I love about Ohio? He's like, when it's a nice day out, like everybody's doing something. Like, there's always stuff going on. There's parties, there's barbecues, there's walks. He's like, you know, when you're in LA, it's always a nice day and nobody ever really cares. He's like, here in Ohio, man, like you guys like live it up.
Take advantage of it.
That's right, man. Like we like to live. We're the funnest people you're ever gonna meet. Maybe. So, well, that being said,
here we go.
With that long intro, we are doing. We're just gonna kind of go over ADP right now. This is up to date ADP. So if a lot of you guys might just be listening just for the ADP, like, hey, where do these players actually land right now in drafts? Tomorrow's show, we're actually going to do a draft, a 1 QB PPR startup draft, which we haven't done in a long time. So I'm excited about that for tomorrow. But just kind of go over the ADP. This ADP is super flex, tight, and premium. If we see any outliers or we see some really good value, we're going to kind of stop there for a little bit. Kind of go over that player wise seems like a value, and anything we kind of see here to kind of go over. I think right now when we look at the top 12, you might move a player left and right or have a player in the same tier. It's all going to be pretty relative here. It goes Josh Allen, Jaden Daniel. Oh, am I in the wrong one?
You are. I got you.
Yep.
Josh Allen, Drake May, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Joe Burrow, Brock Bowers, and Trey McBride make up the top 12.
Yeah, nothing crazy there. I mean, I don't know.
Pretty solid there. I mean, I feel like the discussions at the top aren't going to be as kind of compelling. Those guys are kind of a little chalky, right?
I will say this. I know for like my personal rankings, I know that there's 5 quarterbacks inside the top 12. I'm down to 3. I only have 3 in the top 12. And it does seem like, even 5 is less than we used to get. It used to be like 7, 8. Then it dropped down to 6. Now it's down to 5. And even one of them's like barely in. My personal, I only have 3. So I feel like we value the quarterback still a lot, but I feel like just the tiers have changed where it's like, hey, we really want to get an elite player, period, in the first round. And then we do want to make sure we get good quarterbacks. But the difference between quarterback 5 or 6 and quarterback 12, 13 just might not be as big of a difference as it used to be.
My National Emergency Weather Service is going off for snow squall coming at 5:45.
There's snow squalls. Yeah, I got it as well.
Yeah. And you're right, Garrett. In the first round, what do you want to do? You want to get a cornerstone player that you can put in your roster for years to come, right? You're thinking minimum 5 to 8 years. You want to have a player on your roster there. And that's like some of my beef areas. Like I would definitely take Drake May 1 overall. Totally fine with Josh Allen. I do have some beef. I kind of mentioned the show already with Lamar Jackson at 8. Like there's no way I am taking Lamar ahead of Puka Nacua or Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those 2 players, or honestly, multiple players behind him, when we have a 29, soon to be 30-year-old quarterback who really wins mostly with his legs, who we've seen over the last couple of years fade at the back end of the season. And for me, like that is like too much worry and a couple of years in a row of not getting what I need when I need him the most to have as a cornerstone player. Like what it does is it rises some question marks, and Lamar might be to outlive all those question marks, but they're question marks nonetheless. And I want to have the cleanest slate possible when it comes to the person I am taking in the first round. I think this is like the perfect time, like right now with unless you want to get Jackson Smith or Puka or Gibbs, I get it. It's a perfect time if those couple picks, like just to move out of the first altogether and pick up see how I was doing a startup today. I have pick 1-8, like get out of that first pick, go back into the late second, pick up a 27 first and be good there. Cause to me, like I would much rather grab Jackson Smith and Jigba, Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, the players of those caliber. And like I said, we've talked about this for the last year or so now, where there's such good value at quarterback in the 4th and 5th. And right now, getting a guy we're going to see an ADP of 32 and 34, Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence sitting back there. Those are great comparisons when it comes to a guy like Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson is that elite talent, right? Put up one of the best fantasy we've ever seen. But like, I think we have to start to slowly admit, like those days are slowly coming to an end. So that's my biggest beef with this ADP.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Lamar is a bit of a question mark. Look at the age thing, 29. But Josh Allen is obviously there as well. 29.7 is his age, so he'll be 30 to start the season next year. and he's number one on this list. So, it's hard to really ding Lamar too much, but there was a lot of uncertainty there as well. We don't even know who the offense coordinator is going to be there in Baltimore yet, so we don't know what kind of offense they're going to be running. I mean, I would imagine it's going to be similar and going to, play to Lamar's strengths. But he has slowly started to become a little bit more of a pocket passer as he's aged. So he's one of these guys that, I think has developed into a passer to almost a pass first type of guy. He still obviously has the threat of the running, but this year he was so dinged up, I felt like he just didn't even want to do it. And, as he ages, is that going to become more and more of a thing? And if so, it is going to affect his fantasy value if he can't really become an elite passer. I mean, he's definitely gotten much better. But to your point, Rich, guys like Brock Purdy, who's 26, and he has got some issues of his own as far as staying healthy. He's only been healthy 1 year all the way through, and obviously his rookie year as well. But he didn't play all the games because he wasn't established yet. But he all he does is produce when he's in there. I mean, this past year in the end of the season when he came back, he was quarterback 3, I think. So he's another guy that's a little further down this list, and we'll get to him shortly. That probably deserves to be up a little bit higher. So we could kind of see these guys coming to Garrett's earlier point. Some of these guys kind of coming together from quarterback 13, which I think is where Brock Purdy is, all the way up to quarterback 4 is where Lamar Jackson is. So there really is kind of a mashing together a little bit of those guys. Maybe that's why they are slipping a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting there, man. And I was talking on the Nerd Herd show. Me and Garrett talked about this like kind of in length too, where I was like, man, there's a big shakeup coming, right? Like, part of Dynasty is like thinking ahead. And there's a big shakeup coming with this 27 class. Definitely at quarterbacks, we're going to have at least probably 4 really good quarterbacks to go in the top 10. They're going to push people up. We'll see guys like Jackson Dart, Bo Nix kind of elevate themselves, just like Trevor Lawrence did this year, Bo Nix as well. So we'll see some of these younger guys go. And we know once you get past the age of 31, this is where we'll see Josh Allen slowly start to step back a little bit here. We'll see Lamar step back. If Joe Burrow gets another injury, he's going to step back, which is why I don't love him in the first either. Like, he's going to step back, and he's got to be some of the way he's been talking lately too. Like, how long is he the quarterback that plays till he's 36, 37?
Well, and another thing about him is he's his own representation for contract talks. He doesn't have an agent. So it's another really odd situation where who knows what his long-term kind of plan is. I don't know. And is he going to be in Baltimore? Are they going to be able to sign him to a long-term deal? Or is he going to go somewhere else and then start kind of bouncing around a little bit? So I
think the owner said he had to resign. I think Bisciotti said he had to resign at a lower number for the team to help the team beforehand. And I don't think if he was willing to do that, they probably wouldn't have got rid of Harbaugh. They probably would have got rid of Lamar and reset. So I assume he'd be okay with that. Resigning
again, it's not, but isn't that a tricky conversation when you're dealing directly with the player instead of there's this middleman agent that kind of buffers both sides to kind of come to an agreement. Now all of a sudden you're going directly to the player, like, hey dude, you need to take less money, and there is no buffer, there is no kind of smoothing that over. So it is just another, it's nothing crazy, but it's just another little weird ding, you know what I mean, in the back of my mind when I think of Lamar Jackson's long-term future.
And to me, this is like simple Richonomics, right? Like, do you want Lamar Jackson and like Ted McMillan or Nico Collins, or do you want Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua with like Jackson Dart, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert? You know what I mean? That's what it comes down, like, to me. Like, that's a simple answer. Like, I feel a little bit more comfortable in the stability long term in my quarterback, and I got a much better receiver, right? Like, I think we'd admit like Jackson Smith and Puka are in a different tier right now than even a guy like Drake London, Ted McMillan, and especially like a guy like Nico Collins. Garrett, where are we at next? Unless you want to chime in on the LJ conversation.
No, I think we're good on that. So let's get to kind of the next round there. And we're looking at Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So kind of a group of wide receivers there. Then we get to Ashton Genty, Devon Achane, Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Drake London, Omarion Hampton, and then Justin Herbert. So that's our top 24 guys right there. Anybody stick out to you? Like, it's not a huge deal to me, but for me, like, I definitely firmly have Devon Achane, despite, them losing their coach. I firmly have Achane ahead of Genty at this point. like, and there's a actually sizable gap between the two. So to see Genty over HN is a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah, I mean
that's surprising to me as well. Go ahead, Rich.
Oh, sorry, Matt. Yeah, I mean they're neck and neck, so we're splitting hairs. But like, I would take HN.
But to me, I wouldn't like. They're not close. Like in my Superflex rankings right now, I have Devon Achane at Superflex tight end premium. I have him at 13.
I think I do too.
I have Ashton Genty at 25. So like there's a big gap for me between those two guys. But I also have Amari and Hampton ahead of Genty. So maybe that's
that to me, I see two really great values here, personally. And this is why I said if I had 1-8 and somehow I could get back into the second, I would love to come out with like an extra pick later and come away with just my first two picks, Devon Achane and Caleb Williams, and be very happy as a cornerstone of my team. I have two young playmakers, and I have some really good capital after that for moving out of the first. So those are the two players that, like, everybody else seems pretty fine there. Like, obviously, I wouldn't take Jalen Hurts there. I would take Jackson Dart, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix ahead of Jalen Hurts personally. I think Jalen Hurts falls into that Brock Purdy range. I'd probably prefer Purdy. I know that's crazy. Plus,
we established that on yesterday's show. You're a hater.
So for me, yeah, I mean, those are two players that I really like in that round. They're right there next to each other, Achane and Caleb Williams. Like, I would much prefer just to move back for extra capital and come with those two. Definitely if it's like a solid 27 first, then taking anybody else in the first round. Like, obviously, those players ranked higher. Obviously, I would want, Jackson Smith and Jigbar Puka, but if I can get that nice first on top, or like maybe I could pick up, like maybe I get that second and I get his fourth round to start up. I give him like my 10th round in my first round pick, somewhere on those lines, or 8th round, somewhere on those lines. Like, I feel really good about the value I'm going to get there.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, you're looking at that clump of wide receivers, the guy that sticks out to me is Malik Neighbors, and he's on the top of that list. He's the first guy to go in this round. And I just, you almost lose track of a guy when he's injured for an entire season, and seeing his age kind of stacked up right on top of Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, all guys that we love, but they're starting to get to that 26, 20, they're all going to be 27 next season age range. And Malik Neighbors is firmly in that 22 zone right now. Might even start the season at 22, or he'll just have turned 23. When next season starts. Obviously, the injuries are probably what have dropped him and kind of brought him down to where he is right here. But I think that is really kind of good value. A guy that I still feel good about, even though he's it's the ACL, and it was more than the ACL, correct? That's
what I was saying, Matt. Does that concern you at all? I brought this up on the show too. I know we do so many shows, but Gary and I had this conversation. Like, I was like, there is something I want to bring up here. Like, Malik Neighbors is still in a brace, still. So it's more than ACL for sure. And all the rumors of like potentially the Giants being the first team to take a receiver off the board, whether it be, Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, some of those lines, like they have a guy who's drafted then higher than Neighbors was even drafted on that roster with a new coach there to take another receiver. And the fact that, Neighbors, this is a very, bad knee injury if he's still in a brace.
Yeah.
That to me,
and the other thing, go ahead.
Probably fine, but there is some like little bit of devil on the left-hand shoulder there.
Yeah, and there's always that field where they play their home games has become notorious for having really pretty like crazy injury history there. I mean, it's like that, and now the San Francisco training facility. Like, which one of these situations is worse for players? Like, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully they get the substation thing figured out there in San Francisco. It sounds like they're looking into it, but I don't know that there's ever going to be like a new turf put down there in that field. It seems like by now it might be actually worth it when you got guys like Malik Neighbors going down with some pretty bad non-contact type of injuries. And man, I don't know, like all these surfaces in the NFL, I feel like they should have some sort of regulatory body kind of controlling what kind of surfaces there are on every field. They should all be the same. And it sounds like all the players would like grass. Like, this is the NFL. Let's make this happen. Like, why can't we make this happen? I understand there's domes and stuff like that. But if there's the option for grass, you're an outdoor thing, just make it grass. Like, come on, people.
Do that thing where they roll it out and like get sunlight in a dome. Like your billionaires, right. Your $1 billion stadiums, they're paid for by the tax funders anyways. Like you're not, these guys aren't getting it. They're just getting super rich. Like, yeah, play on grass. Like it's safer for your players, just better overall.
What was that overseas soccer field that they played on where it was like underneath the ground and then they would like bring it up? And I don't know. I don't remember exactly all the details of it, but it was like this like revolutionary way that they like had like awesome natural grass.
Yeah, dude. When I was in college, I used to see dudes that were like, they have greenhouses in their basements, essentially. Like obviously growing weed
for different reasons. Yeah.
Not grass, different kind of grass if you're picking me up. But like, I was like blown away. Like, God, dude, you can make like you're growing this stuff down in this dungeon. Like, oh yeah, with the right round of soil and the right kind of lights and stuff. I'm like, like these kids are like 20-year-old, 19-year-old like idiots. Like, are we gonna owners figure out how to grow grass?
Can we just get giant grow lights on the bottom of these huge jumbotrons and get this like even on the inside? Come on, you can do it.
Yeah, dude, like hit up Snoop Dogg. He'll help you. I'll be your agriculture consultant.
All right, well, let's get to the third round here. We've got Jackson Dart to kick off the third round, then Jonathan Taylor, Bo Nix, Tetaroa McMillan, Travion Henderson, James Cook, Nico Collins, Trevor Lawrence, all the way up into the third round now. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Bucky Irving, and then Tyler Warren to round out. So we've got our third tight end that snuck in there, and we've got a lot of quarterbacks in this range. What do you guys think of it?
It wouldn't worries me. Who I love, but worries me. Travion Henderson.
Dude, he got what, 4 snaps this past game?
And like, because Ramonde signed that extension. Like Vrabel loves him. He doesn't love his fellow Buckeye. Now, again, year 2 could be a completely different thing, but like, man, like I was reading into it this past week too. Like, a lot of people are questioning his vision on the field there, and just a big play running back. And I love the player, but dude, like you have to like fit, like Vrabel's not going anywhere, right? Like this coaching staff's not going anywhere. He likes Ramondre. So like, I don't know if it's like one of those like David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, where like early on it's like 50-50. And then by like year 3, Trevion's just locked in as the guy. But like, again, some question marks there. So for me, like, I think James Cook, who's right behind him, is like a little bit of a safer option, but like taking Travion taking a running back high, like you need him to be unbelievable for a couple of years. Like there's a lot of risk there too. Like you could be drafting a guy as your third pick for your roster, then thinking, oh gosh, like I have to fill the rest of my roster and I need 3 more running backs too, because I can't there's not even guaranteed I could start Travion week 1. In week 2 or all of 2026. So that's one for me that as much as I love the player and I love him a lot from the position that he plays, I definitely can't pull the trigger there. Definitely over like Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy, who I'm
honestly, Rich, I kind of have a hard time with draft. Like if I'm in a startup, I have a hard time drafting any of these running backs in the third round.
Yeah, you're right. To be fair, I wouldn't draft any of these running backs in the third round. I would be taking Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence and Sal Vaden, Bo Nix, Sal Vaden, Ted McMillan, Sal Vaden. I think third round is only like, to me, Garrett, like running back draft is like when there's extreme value. They're like, oh my God, Genty's there. Like he's the last. And me, you know what? With the new offense as well, in that offensive line going next year, and Mike McDaniel, I think Amarion Hampton fits that bill for me too. Like he's the only running back there in the draft I would take.
I have Hampton ahead of Genty, so I'm with you. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I want a young 3-down running back that can get me at least as a chance at 20 plus points per game. So if I can't get that guy in the first 4 rounds, I'm not getting him. And right now, even though he's young, I can't trust Travion. I can trust Jonathan Taylor for 20 plus points a game, but he's older. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey. And James Cook is right on that cusp of being in that same boat where it's like, it's not that I think that's a bad pick, but that's why I've been such a big proponent of the past couple of years of like hitting those running backs early, because I don't want to be drafting them here because I don't think this is where the value is. I think the value ends up being in the 6th round, the 7th round, the 8th round. That's where the value is, not 100%. In these kind of rounds.
Yeah, 100%. I think James Cook is definitely worth going there. Definitely the fact they retained Joe Brady as offensive, head coach is now there too. Yep. I think James Cook is totally validated there for sure. If you want to grab like a stud running back, but you're right. Like you got Breece Hall. I guarantee, even though Saquon's value ADP right now is 39, it's going to be a little bit later than that. But you guys, so many guys behind him, like the Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Cam Scadaboos, Kenneth Walkers, Travis Etienne's, DeAndre Swift's. We'll see what happens to Javonte Williams. Like so many different options to go. And you're getting that, you still have an opportunity to get an elite young quarterback, an elite tight end, an elite receiver, like to fill out your roster. I think it'd just be a mistake to draft one of those guys there. And I think we're all on the same page that we wouldn't do that anyways. So again, this is ADP. It's not our rank set or how we would draft, but like, this is why you kind of go through it. Like you talked us out and kind of plan out, it's why ADP is so important, because it kind of help you build your draft strategy.
Yep. Matt, are you kind of with us on that? Like, just this is not a running back range that I really want to mess with. Just feels too early, because I'm either getting a younger guy that I can't fully trust yet, or I'm getting an old guy who's got the points, but how much longevity do they have left? Are they worth it at this point? So like, it's either I'm hammering one of those young studs in the first 2 rounds, or I'm probably then waiting until rounds 5, 6, 7 to draft my next running back.
I'm with you guys. I'm with both of you guys there. Yeah. Because Christian McCaffrey, great player, right? But how much longer are we going to have this guy around? He's 29. He'll be 30 next year. He's still, for fantasy purposes, is getting the job done because he catches so many passes and it's in the perfect offense. But you can't say that he's still got the same amount of explosiveness he did 3 years ago.
Rushing production showed that was not
right.
The same.
Right. So, you're seeing the end coming for Christian McCaffrey. Is he going to be able to eke it out and keep going and still be a valuable player, I think, for the next 2 years? Probably. As long as there's no more injuries, then yeah. But do you want to take that guy right here, this early in the 3rd round? For me, no. That's too much. Trevion Henderson is, I think, the most interesting guy on here. I know there's some trepidation just because of his usage. But to your point, I think this is where you kind of have to take a guy like that. If you envision him, like Rich said, as that Jahmyr Gibbs type of guy that just needs a couple of years to kind of pop in the NFL while he kind of splits time right now. Because he is the more explosive, better running back in my opinion. And it might just take a little bit of time for him to kind of get going. But other than that guy, I'm with you. Bucky Irving, obviously great rookie season. Kind of just okay this year. So yeah, it's definitely a hard one to nail down. The other guy that I have a hard time, I think, taking this early, and I wouldn't fault anyone for doing it, but Nico Collins, just kind of all the dings and boo-boos in his career. I would personally rather get a guy, that's going to come up next on the list when we go through the next round, the first guy there, Rashee Rice.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, like all guys that I would probably prefer over a guy like Nico Collins at this point. You have the quarterback question mark, you got Nico's health, you got the 2 receivers behind him. Who knows who the strong running back in the running game is going to look like. Again, just a lot of options. I think, the prime value there really is, in my eyes, are the quarterbacks, and like Tat McMillan in that range are the guys that I really love there. And if they're not available, another prime area to like drop back in your draft, right? Like it kind of like
sure
to the point of like I would drop down a whole round and just take like an offer that I can get that's like solid. Like there's always gonna be somebody that does love a player there anyway. Somebody's gonna love Nico. Somebody's gonna love Trevion. They're gonna get scared about the running backs. Like, oh, Trevion's the last young rookie running back that's a stud, right? Like, there's always gonna be somebody there, Tyler Warren, that people want to move up, and we'll give you the value you want. And like we said, we mentioned players already that could drop down and get that we kind of feel pretty equal to.
Yeah. Definitely. And to your point, Brock Purdy is one of these guys that, I wanted to highlight a little bit before we started this show, just because, I don't think he gets the credit, and it is. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. He has been dinged up a bit, but when he is in there, this guy is freaking elite, man. So like I said, QB6 between weeks 11 and 18, but that included his bye and a points per game in that little stretch towards the end of the season when he came back healthy. He was QB3, and he was up this year. He's up at like 20.5 points per game. I mean, just really good numbers. You know what I mean? Like very, very, very good numbers. When you look at his entire career, you take out 3 games in his rookie season where he came in kind of as relief, or not even relief, but you know what I mean? Like he hadn't started yet, and he just came in and did backup duty type of stuff. Like somebody gets injured for a play, comes in. He's up at 18.8 for his entire career on a points per game basis. When it's like it's less than a full point behind a guy like Justin Herbert, who's at 19.6, who's going in a complete round earlier, and he's a year younger than him. So he's an impressive guy. I just think, at this point, to get a guy like Brock Purdy at 34 or wherever you're getting him, I really like that value, and I'd be willing to take him higher than that in a lot of drafts.
Yeah, I've been saying this forever. I think Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence are the best values whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like here, you have 2 guys that could be top 12 overall scorers, and you're getting them here in the back third. It's one of my main reasons I love them. I mentioned that first, like moving back, like Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence are 2 huge targets that I want to get because I'd feel really good if both those guys were my quarterbacks. And both are 26 or younger. So you have a 25 and 26-year-old. So you get the best of both worlds. So same thing, like why settle for Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson when you get so many other skill position players where let's be honest, it drops off pretty quickly at running back. It starts to drop off pretty quickly at elite receivers, knowing that you can get that quarterback later. And said, this is a topic here on Dynasty Nerds that we've talked about now for a couple of years, because we're like, hey man, we've kind of seen this kind of evolve into this where Garrett, you mentioned earlier, like, dude, it used to be all quarterbacks early with, hey, you can't lead the first 2 rounds without getting those young stud quarterbacks. We're now like, hey, there's some pretty damn good value in the 3rd and 4th round. Like you mentioned, like Matt Sky, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, like guys that you feel really comfortable with. And then even guys like later, you can get that people want to like brush this side, like a guy like Dak Prescott, later down the road. And you feel really good about that over going all in. And then you have Lamar. And if Lamar's not that elite tier 1 player, like your team's in trouble because you spent that draft capital there. And like, even though Josh Allen's worth the 1-1, you can make an argument there too. Like, why take Josh Allen when you get Bijan Robinson, right? And then like come back and get, Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence to back him up compared to your running backs like Quinshon Judkins or Kenneth Walker. Like,
and on ADP wise, you don't even have to fall that far at quarterback. Right around the ADP, you're looking at Mahomes, Herbert, Dart. Like, I'd be thrilled with any of those 3 to be my QB2. So, Rich, before we go to the 4th round, though, I think you got some folks we need to talk about real quick.
Yeah, we got to tell you about our friends we have going on everywhere. First of all, home alert for Dynasty Nerds. We got the Draft Nerds going on. We have a whole new YouTube channel, Garrett, if you want to tell everybody about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of the stuff you love about Dynasty Nerds, but it's all prospect focused. It's all about the prospects. It's all about the guys in college coming up through the process into the NFL draft. That's what we're focused on all year long. So we're giving you more deep dives. It's more opportunities to get to see some guys like Jagger and Andrew and Jared Wackerly that we don't get to see as much on the main channel. You get a chance to hear from those guys a little bit more. I'm involved there quite a bit as well. And even sometimes you'll hear on the podcast feed, some of those podcasts come through, but we have a separate YouTube channel. So go there, subscribe today. We've only had this up for like not even 2 weeks, and we're already pushing 700 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,000 within the first month. I think we're going to hit that easy, but help us out with that. Go over there, hit subscribe, Draft Nerds on YouTube.
Yeah, get over there, man. They can't even start monetizing that bad boy until they get to 1,000 subs. So we need your support over there to help out Garrett, Andrew, and Jagger. And again, just nonstop rookie talk for you guys. And and we mentioned right now, like rookie talk. Like we're doing these couple shows here, like as we inch closer and closer, with the Shrine Bowl going on, till we dive into our rookie contest. Jumping into all 22 film room. And here's a great opportunity if you're getting that film room for at a very low price, because right now we have a great partner in FastDraft, and FastDraft is a best ball app. We talked about how great their tournaments are and how you have such a better chance to win. A Nerd Herder won one of their rabbit tournaments, and they won the big money. So again, we were telling you what we tell you is the truth, right? And they have a really cool opportunity right now. They have these really cool game going on with these rookies. They had the FastDraft tournaments, with real money, $10,000 up for prizes. It's your rookie drafts, right? So if you're a hardcore Dynasty player and you've been all up on top of these rookies, you've been listening to Draft Nerds, studying Dane Brugler and Matt Miller and all those guys, and you know what's going on, you can get these rookie contests right now and have $10,000 in prizes up to grabs, and you can start drafting these rookies now. So you're literally drafting them on talent and talent alone before the NFL drafts, before anyone else can catch up. So you have a real opportunity to win some serious cash. If you use the promo code NERDS, a lot of things go on here. They're going to match your deposit up to $50, which is fantastic, free money. And if you put at least $10 in, they're going to match you $10, and you play in a contest and use that promo code NERDS, and you've never been a member, we are going to give you a free 1-year membership to the Nerd Herd. That means our rookie guide that comes out, that's going to be digital, that updates manually all the time. So it's going to be updated rookie guide. It's not like you buy one, it just stays put, updated. Access to all 22 film room to watch that all 22 tape on every single player coming out in the NFL draft, the Dynasty GM app, all that we offer here at the Dynasty Nerds, you get for free for 1 year if you play a $10 game. You guys got promo code NERDS. And if you're already a Nerd Herd member and you're looking just to get hooked up and try and play in these contests, if you put $10 in, we're going to send you a $25. They're going to give you $10. We're going to send you a $25 gift certificate to use in our merch store. So you can come away with an awesome hoodie, shirt, any kind of gear that you want to come away with. So check them out. Download the app, the FastDraft app right now, and get in there, get in that, use that code NERDS, draft those rookies, and win some cash.
Heck yeah. And you got to head over to FFPC as well. They're dropping some of their orphans consistently. So every week they're dropping new teams that are available. And the nice part about these is often they're discounted. They're often less expensive than, if the buy-in fee is $500, you might get this one for $300. The buy-in's $1,000, you might get it for $500. Some of them are severely discounted to the point you're paying 30%, 25% on some of these. It's a great opportunity to get in for a cheaper price. And if you're somebody like me that I'm one of those guys where I would play NCAA college football, choose the worst teams ever, and I would recruit the crap out of them just so I can flip them and try to make them a powerhouse. It's fun to rebuild. That's what you get to do over there. Or you can enter new leagues. They have new leagues starting up all the time. Best part is they never fold. You don't have to worry about some random GM or commissioner that's going to go out there and just take money and bounce and move to Mexico. You don't have to worry about that. They've been established. They've been around forever, and they're the most consistent, safe place to play fantasy football. Use that promo code NERDS. They're going to give you $25 off your entry fee. That's promo code NERDS. Get that free money and get in to play one of those orphan teams or a new draft today. All right, we want to do round 4?
Yeah, I'm all in.
Let's get into round 4 here. All right, we started touching on some of these receivers already, but Rashee Rice, Saquon Barkley, George Pickens, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, Colston Loveland, CJ Stroud, Chase Brown, Jordan Love, Chris Olave, Quinn Judkins. There's some really good wide receiver value, I feel like, in this round.
Yeah, I love the Garrett Wilson here as wide receiver 13 value. Injuries will do that to somebody. Sometimes still super young, has succeeded with every single quarterback he has played with. Not probably going to get a massive upgrade this year, but they're all set to attack that 27 class and get one of the league quarterbacks then, where, Garrett Wilson will be entering his prime, and he's still the number one option there. Love that. And obviously, Mecca started strong and a little bit weaker when Mike Evans comes back. But you mentioned, quarterback value, receivers with George Pickens, Breece Hall is in here, who I love. Colston Loveland is in here, which is great value.
Chris Olave,
Jordan Love, behind CJ Stroud in this economy. Right? Yeah, give me Jordan Love over those guys all day long. So, fourth round, we kind of talked about it. There's some guys even back here behind these guys I like higher. You said Chris Olave, but Dak Prescott's good. We're going to get those round, but even guys like there's actually a couple guys I like even like later a little bit more. I think like they've been trying to press down because this previous year, guys like Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, who kind of, didn't like the world on fire like their rookie years.
Save for the next round.
Okay, we'll save it. Matt's having some technical difficulties, so let's go ahead and jump into the next round.
All right, we can just skip it and we'll go on. But I do like that round overall. I do think there's a lot of good receiver value there, especially. Next round, we have Dak Prescott, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyron Williams, Baker Mayfield, Rome Odunze, Harold Fannin, Tucker Kraft, Jared Goff, A.J. Brown, and R.J. Harvey sneaking in there at the very, very end. This is my quarterback range. This is where I live, Rich, because I don't care about those old crusty guys that people don't want anymore. And it's not even like they're ancient. Dak Prescott, currently 32. Baker Mayfield, currently 30. Jared Goff, currently 31. Like, cool. I've got 3 or 4 more years with all of those guys. So if you give me, like, I'll probably try to get an extra pick in this round, and I'll just take both my quarterbacks here. I'll take 2 of those 3 guys and love my life because I built up my team instead with Bijan Robinson and Devon Achane, and then I'm getting Drake London and George Pickens, and now I'm getting my 2 quarterbacks. Like, I have no issue waiting on quarterback and taking Dak, Baker, or Jared Goff in the 5th round. Like, sometimes they're even going to fall to the 6th round. Like, totally fine waiting till that point.
Yeah, perfect win now kind of strategy. To me, like, this is where I'd want to grab my quarterback too. Like, I feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned there's a lot of different ways you can go here because I would love to get Rome. I love to get Ladd, Brian Thomas, Marv, like any of the receivers, even AJ Brown I'd be comfortable with here. So for me, like, I preferably either I'm grabbing my quarterback 2 here or I'm grabbing my wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 here in this range. But I think every player you mentioned are great value, right? A lot of upside. People that have been suppressed because either they had a down year or injuries. And to me, it's like these were all guys, ADPs that were significantly higher a year ago, right? So for me, I love to do that. We talk about like how I like to buy the rookies that were 1st round picks the year before. They didn't kind of jump out and do anything right away. You can get them for later where they were drafted the year previously. So yeah, but with that comes some risks. Like, can Ladd McConkey rebound? I feel very confident with Mike McDaniel as his OC with a healthy offensive line and no Keenan Allen that yes, Ladd McConkey can rebound. I feel pretty damn good about Brian Thomas's skill set rebound in some manner out there in Jacksonville, whether it be Jaguars or elsewhere. Marv, big risk, big reward, right? Like, here's an opportunity you draft Marv, like, and what a great place to draft him, right? Like, you draft him as your like wide receiver 3 if you want wide receiver, running back or quarterback there. Like, you got Marv as your wide receiver 3, and you already got 2 studs, and now he could turn into a top 7 fan receiver. And that's now not only do you have the best receiving core in your league, but now you have a position where like, okay, I can trade one of my receivers and grab the player I can grab that elite running back. I can grab that quarterback that I need. I can get high up in that 27 draft class and reset if I need to, because that's the kind of player that will offer that. So, when you settle for a guy that might be a little bit more safe, like, that's a perfect risk territory as well, like grabbing some of those guys because the reward is so high. And to be honest with you, Ladd, Brian Thomas, and Marv, like even Rome, they're still insulated. Like you want those guys to be like wide receiver 1s, but they're floors. Like their absolute bottom floors are like wide receiver 3s, right? Like that's probably their floor. So like you're still getting a startable asset that has extremely high upside. So I love everybody you mentioned that round, man. It's all great value.
Let me ask you, and I don't know for sure if we have Matt back or not. Matt, are you there or no? Okay. I don't think he is. It kind of looks like
I am here. Yeah.
Okay. We might just not get his camera. But so Matt, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. But tight ends in this round, 2 of the guys that are in this round, Harold Fannin Jr., Tucker Kraft. We saw at the very end of the 3rd, you're taking Tyler Warren at, roughly his ADP is 44. So, he's the 36th player overall though. rank wise. So there's kind of
Sure.
a big tier there.
Mhm.
Then Colston Loveland, that's being taken in the 4th. Then towards the very end of the 5th, pushing the 6th round, we have Harold Fannin Jr. and Tucker Kraft. To me, I have all of those guys in the same tier. So how would you feel about just kind of waiting and not taking Tyler Warren there, Colston Loveland there, and just waiting and taking Harold Fannin Jr., Tucker Kraft, maybe even wait another round and take Sam Laporta instead of going up? And Rich, we'll start with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We kind of talked about this before too. Like that tier of young tight ends is probably deeper than we've seen in a while. Like I love the value of Tucker Kraft coming off the injury. You know, Harold Fannin, what he looked like this year, coming straight from college to transition to the NFL, doing exactly what he did is great value. And like you said, there are two guys even behind him that like, okay, I want those guys, right? But like what makes me feel really comfortable about pushing it for them too and waiting to see how it plays out is even if I miss on those two guys, you still have Sam Laporta and Kyle Pitts behind them. So
Right.
like as much as I want Trey McBride, as much as I want Brock Bowers, I really do. It's like I can settle for the value later, right? Like same thing kind of like before, like why take Lamar when I can take this player here? Why take this player here when I take that player? And listen, I know Trey McBride was giving you wide receiver 1 numbers, right? Like legit wide receiver 1 numbers. That's hard to replace. So Brock Bowers and Trey McBride definitely belong there. And this is even like, I'm an art counterpoint. Like say you took Trey McBride early. I'm not even scared to take the value here later. Like it's good to have the other tight end, right? Like on your roster.
Case of injury or make a trade. Like those guys can be huge trade chips when they're, because you've said it a million times. It's the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah. So like I like those guys at the back end here. I want to grab those. And I wonder if like you always got to take the ebbs and the flows of a startup draft anyways. Like I wonder if a couple people will kind of feel that way. Like, hey, I can take this player here now, but like I'm okay with all 3 of those guys too. And like it keeps getting pushed back a little bit. And I said, even the guys behind them, I still feel comfortable with because I still put them in that same tier with Sam Laporta and Kyle Pitts. So Matt, what say you why we still have you here?
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know what's going on. My computer just keeps crashing. So we'll try to get this in while we can. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, obviously all by themselves there. Tyler Warren and Loveland to me are obviously the new hotness. I mean, you can throw Harold Fannin in with those guys if you want. I do think in my personal kind of rankings here in my brain, I have Colston Loveland on top of those two guys, but not by much on Warren. Warren, like those guys are almost interchangeable. So I think I like those guys as ADP. And as far as Harold Fannin and Tucker Kraft going in this round, I mean, Superflex tight end premium, this is where they belong, if not even, maybe a few spots higher than they are, but probably within this round. So I'm not going to argue it too much. But Tucker Kraft would probably be my next bet. Just because there's, the Browns are the Browns. Who knows who their quarterback is going to be? Who knows who their head coach is going to be? What kind of
Pro Bowler, baby? Come on, Pro Bowler.
What kind of newfangled offense they're going to bring to town? Whether they're going to, use the tight ends as much as they did in the Stefanski offense, who knows? So Tucker Kraft feels okay here. Harold Fannin, just for those question marks that I just said, I would probably have him, after Kraft. But I'm still fine because he's so young and produced so well. I'm still fine with him in this round. So none of those guys really feel off to me.
It is likely that Njoku's gone as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like this is like a moving on situation with the head coach going and who knows who they're bringing in, but him kind of coming up on the end of his contract as well. Like, I think this is an Njoku's moving on type of situation for the Browns.
Yeah, I think he's good as gone. But yeah, I mean, just great value. And you got to remember, like it's Superflex tight end premium, and Garrett mentioned the haves and have not. So it's not also a bad value just to grab value here, right? Because like when you get past those guys, it's going to start to drop pretty significantly, and you'll find as we go through this ADP, that other receiver, that other running back, like they're all going to be pretty close, but those tight ends are going to be in a league of their own.
So let's now we'll stop going through the regular ADP. And let's just highlight some of our favorite players ADP wise. And this one's kind of surprising to me, Rich, with as good of a season as he had this year. And Rich, I know you were all aboard the train, despite worries about, Tank Bigsby at the time and, Bashal Tootin and different guys like that. Travis Etienne at running back 21, ADP wise, all the way down in the late 70s. So we're talking a whole round difference from RJ Harvey, Josh Jacobs, Cam Scatterby, 2 rounds almost from Kyron Williams and Quinshawn Judkins and Chase Brown. Like, that just screams value to me, because I think there's a good chance that he goes back to Jacksonville. And if not, it's because somebody paid him a good amount to go to a team where he's probably going to be the featured back.
I don't know where these narratives come from. I don't know how they develop. I don't understand where value gets shifted. You have a running back here who's 26 years old, who has first round NFL draft pedigree, who's got a top 3 finish, who just finished as running back 10 overall weeks 1 through 17 in PPR leagues, and is going this late. Like, that makes zero sense, like, whatsoever. Like, people are taking Derrick Henry over him, which is okay.
That's the one that gets me, man. Like, him going after Derrick Henry, 32-year-old Derrick Henry. Like, come on, man. Like,
I like RJ Harvey a ton. I talked him up all, in the summer. I talked him up big time, and his efficiency was not great whatsoever. Like, Travis Etienne's a much safer pick for a guy who's probably going to get paid and get a little bit of guaranteed money on that contract as well, and still get a little bit. If Travis Etienne gets a deal where pretty much 2 of those years are guaranteed, then he was a home run rookie pick, home run at running back. So to get the production that you've gotten out of Travis Etienne and just to be disregarded, and Matt, you and I have been talking about this for 12 years on this podcast. There's always these players, whether it be receiver, quarterbacks, kind of Dak's kind of falling in that range a little bit too, like at quarterback. Like, there's always these players that produce at a very high level. They're championship caliber players that the community all of a sudden just says, nah, trash. I don't want them. Like, it's like you have this.
It is crazy, man. Yeah, it's wild.
She's like you're just like blind to it. Like, she's asking you out, and she's like, oh, so what are you doing? You're like, probably gonna watch some like Game of Thrones or something. You're like, oh, Netflix. Watch Game of Thrones. Like, yeah, you should watch it. It's a good show.
Anyway, I'll see you later.
Anyways, catch you later. I think Etienne's you're right, Gary. He's like reached that range of like fantastic value. And as we're skipping some of these rounds, like, this is what you're looking for, right? Like, use those first 6 rounds to build that core. And then after that, like, you're not, Garrett, you've said this multiple times over the years. Like, once you get out of these top 6 rounds, you aren't even looking at building a team and filling out a roster. You are just looking for value, because you're going to figure that out later, right? Most startups are going to happen from now until probably, honestly, like July, like early August. So you have plenty of time to fill out a roster. So you're just grabbing value and not filling out a roster. And Travis Etienne absolutely smashes value here.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, who do you have as somebody that you're looking at the ADP and you're just like, man, that's value?
Yeah, another guy that I got here, and this one might be a little weird, but Jalen Waddle is a guy that, for me, he had a pretty solid year and faded towards the end, obviously, which was probably disappointing and maybe why he ended here. But 27 years old, the Miami Dolphins are obviously in some turmoil here, and there's going to be some turnover on this roster. I think they're $22 million ish over the cap for next season, and guys on the top of the list of cap space are Tua and Tyreek, both taking up 50 million plus. I think 56 for Tua and 51 ish for Tyreek. So listen, we don't know what's going to happen with Tua. They kind of came out with some comments where they need to find their guy, whether that's Tua or not, kind of thing. So not really cutting bait with Tua, not really endorsing him. Like, they're going to get in there and try to figure it out. I would imagine, this is the time to do it if they're going to do it, but I don't know. I don't have the contract in front of me to know the exact ramifications. But Tyreek's gone. You know what I mean? Like, so we've already kind of seen what that's going to look like next year, and it looks pretty decent for Waddle, who's there, I think, through 2028. So they locked him up for a 3-year deal, or an extension, I think, earlier this season or last offseason. So he's there for till 2028, and nothing crazy as far as cap numbers. I think he's only like $11 million against the cap, $11.6 million against the cap next year. So he's a guy that, for a guy that's going to be a likely number one wide receiver on that team next year, I think he offers some pretty decent value down here at wide receiver 27. He has a pretty solid chance of out performing those numbers. I think he was wide receiver 24. And he didn't score, I think, in his last game, and then missed the last game of the season.
Yeah,
so
he finished wide receiver 24. Man, those are Fugazi numbers, anyways. If you really look at it, before the injury, before like things went off the rails for Miami, weeks 1 through 10. So a majority of the regular season, he was wide receiver 11 overall in PPR leagues. Right. Like a wide receiver 1. And you mentioned you can sit here and say, oh, the Miami Dolphins are trash. That defense is terrible. Like they have no quarterback and all that. You're right. So guess who's going to be playing from a negative game script at all times, throwing the ball downfield to a guy who's very fast, explosive, and shifty? It's going to be Jalen Waddle. Like it's him and Devon Achane, and Achane has a chance to get traded. So I want players on that roster. I don't want the guy who's like, oh man, they're always up in the fourth quarter. Like they're just going right to the run game and pound it out. And James Cook is running the ball over and over and over again, and they're not throwing the football. Like, give me the receivers on the doo-doo teams, right? Like they're throwing the ball downfield. Like they're in quick hurry-up offense and throwing up quick screens to like Jalen Waddle, who can make plays from anywhere on the field. So I love that value to get a guy like Jalen Waddle as your wide receiver 3. And I think there's a lot of those wide receivers, like we'll see down the list here, that are pretty good value, which again kind of goes to don't be afraid to grab that tight end 2 if the value is there. Another value, if you go back up, we mentioned before Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts has reached now all of a sudden the term of value. He finished the year as tight end 2 overall. I know a little of that got pumped up because of that 45-point game he had like week 14 or somewhere around there. So that kind of pumped up the cause a little bit, but he was still playing as a top 5 fantasy tight end pretty consistently throughout the year. Right now, the ADP of 70 overall. He's only 25 years old. He's a free agent, and you just hope that new contract and money doesn't kind of shift his mentality when it comes to production. But Kyle Pitts, for being the last tight end 8 of all those young guys we like, has just as high a ceiling as all the guys at the top, right? Like this is a guy who we saw do it a long time ago in a land far away, who was a unicorn, right? Like, we talked about him too, Garrett, where I said at the time, the Kyle Pitts mania was unbelievable. Like there's not many players where I saw the price tag was so outrageous for a player than Kyle Pitts after his rookie year. So really good value, kind of like going back to that Marv kind of thing. But for a player who's actually done it, I think Kyle Pitts is really good value.
Real quick before we get off Pitts, do you guys think they franchise him? I mean, the number's not crazy.
I would.
And Stefanski he always has used tight ends in his offense. I think this would be kind of, a step up from anything he's had from an athleticism standpoint. And that's saying something because Njoku is a very athletic tight end, but this guy just moves differently. He moves more like a wide receiver than a tight end. I think it would be a very interesting, development to see Kyle Pitts in this offense, to see how he performs in a very tight end friendly offense.
Yeah, I am trying to extend him if I can, because his wide receiver contracts are so feasible. But if not, I'm 100%. I'm not letting a guy like him walk out my door. I'll franchise him, for the franchise tag. I'll franchise him 2 years in a row if I had to and get him to 27.
And to your point, I think they can. I think the tight end number is not that bad that they could just keep doing that and really just take the hit. It doesn't really matter. So I think it's in their best interest.
Any other players that we see stand out? The only other one. Go ahead, Rich.
All right. Ricky Pearsall at 90 right now. Being so far down the list and having such a clear path. Yes, he's been banged up. He's got that injury history. He has just not been able to shake these last 2 years. But to be fair, the big one was he did get shot. But when you look at the San Francisco situation right now, like Juwan Jennings is a free agent, Brandon Ayuk is gone, and George Kittle, who just signed that big extension towards Achilles. Late, like he's gonna miss most of the season too. So it automatically, not only is it put Ricky Pearsall in the number 1 wide receiver slot in a Kyle Shanahan offense, but like almost a lone wolf left there. Obviously, San Francisco will do something there.
I think they draft somebody in the first or second.
They're gonna figure something out there. But right now, he's got a rapport. He's produced, and we know, again, going the history of Kyle Shanahan and his offense and how he produces those receivers over the years, going back since he was an offensive coordinator with Julio Jones, what he did with Pierre Garçon in Washington and San Francisco, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. His efficiency numbers are always really, really good when it comes to wide receivers. We look at his yards per target, the yards per catch, yak afterwards. And Ricky Pearsall, the first round pick for them, does fit a lot of those molds. So be going to year 3, which is usually a typical big step up for year 3 of players. I think Ricky Pearsall this late is a great young player that you can get with tremendous upside, with probably, if he stays healthy, a very safe floor as well, which means you got a guaranteed flex player or a guy who probably is going to give you wide receiver 2 numbers if he's healthy, at like probably worst case, like wide receiver 2 numbers as your wide receiver 3. And that's how you build a winning team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about Ricky Pearsall. The one thing that I want to remind people of is he is an older young guy. You know what I mean? He is 25. He's the same age as like Zay Flowers. And Zay Flowers, I think, has been in the league a couple more years. So it's
but
just one of those things. One of those things. What'd you say?
So where's he getting drafted though? Like it's age like 25, you get 4 more years. Yeah.
Sure. No, I know that. I think that I just wanted to put that out there because that might be one of the reasons, that combined with injuries might be why he kind of has started sliding. But to your point, Rich, it does make him a very good value, and he's going to be producing in that offense just because he's going to be the guy in a Kyle Shanahan offense next year. And you can go listen to the press conference, talking about Kyle Shanahan, basically saying Ricky wasn't Ricky except for like 2 games this season. Like he was just dinged up. He was trying to fight through it. He fell on his knee and it's like a freak injury. And then he tried to come back too early and fell on it again. And he would never play the season kind of right, except for a couple of games. And in those couple of games he popped, he looked good. So, he is a good player.
And what about the surprise news of my husband playing on a torn PCL all year long?
No kidding. All year long. So, question marks about toughness maybe got answered this year because granted, he missed games, but he fought through it and played really well when he was actually playing.
So you're telling me there's another chance.
It can only get better. Offense with Joe Brady is one weapon. I'm telling you, still in, baby. Still in.
Yeah.
Last one I just want to hit real quick. I do like Gadsden in this range, a guy that earlier on in the season was getting maybe as high as like tight end 4 overall type love. And then everybody got hurt and everything kind of went to crap. And look, there's a very good chance that we'll see about Keenan Allen. I'm guessing he's probably done. Maybe they bring him back for 1 more year, but when he was playing his best, it was when they had at least one of their all pro level tackles in. When they lost both, he's a big play tight end down the field that really hurt those opportunities. We saw the same thing kind of happen to Quentin Johnston. He kind of lessened once they lost another tackle because the pass rush gets there quicker, harder to make those big plays. So I think once they have both those big tackles back, we're going to be good to go. And I know some people are like, well, is that bad that Mike McDaniels is there now no? What did he do 2 years ago with Jonnu Smith? Jonnu Smith was heavily targeted in that offense and all the way up to tight end 3 or 4 that season. Then when he was alive, Darren Waller was awesome last season for Miami. So I think this is an offense that could easily get Oronde Gadsden very, very involved. And I don't think Mike McDaniels has any issue with that at all because he was doing it also with George Kittle back in San Francisco. So anybody that's like, oh, I don't, and because I've heard a couple of people like, oh, I don't like that situation. I think it's great. So I like that.
Yeah, agree. I like Isaiah Likely at 122, who's about to be a free agent, probably gonna get paid somewhere. Nice, good gamble on the upside there. And then J.K. Dobbins all the way down at 159, running back 18, right there. Sorry, not running back 18, at 159. He was running back 18 until he got hurt, averaging 11.6 points per game. He was averaging 5 yards per carry. He said he wants to go back to Denver. I heard there is mutual interest there as well. It could be fantastic. They might sign him to a possible multi-year deal, if not just a 1-year deal. So,
you hear him say he's like, I'm a Buckeye and a Bronco.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't get drafted here, but I'm a Buckeye and a Bronco. So he does like it there quite a bit.
Oh, Ralphie will love him. 2 BBs. So yeah, really good value. Now let's talk about value next. With a startup 1Q, let's take all this tight end premium, all these fancy quarterbacks, which now we're going to completely bypass
Trash them. We don't care about quarterbacks.
Dude, when I'm in a 1 QB league, I'm taking quarterback 12, baby. Let's go ahead and jump into that and do ourselves a mock draft and get into it. So till tomorrow.
Adios.